Mile Chopper here to break down another primetime NFL game. It is Monday Night Football, and it's another, well, not so great matchup. We got the Dallas Cowboys against the New York Giants. The Cowboys, no Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush starting for them at quarterback, and the Giants off to a surprising 2-0 start. So there are some implications here in the NFC East. It's a rivalry game, so do me a favor as you come in, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let me know in the comments section what you like about this game. Who do you want to win? The Giants, the Cowboys? What do you think is the better bet? Any prop bets you like today? Let me know below in the comments section. All the engagements are definitely appreciated. Also, a quick recap of last night. We actually did well on a primetime game. I've generally got my ass kicked on primetime games this year, if I'm being honest, but last night was a good one. So I had 3 bets that I had for the Sunday Night Football game. We did have the winner of the game. That was the Denver Broncos. Bet them as underdogs. They ended up winning outright. And then in terms of prop bets, had Jerry Jeudy under 4.5 receptions. That ended up winning. And then Brandon Ayuk over 3.5 receptions. That was the one bet that lost. And a little bit tilting as well because Ayuk had 3 catches in the first quarter, had the first touchdown reception of the game. And of all the bets I had after the first quarter, I'm thinking that one is the most likely to win. Already had 3 receptions. He was clearly a guy that Jimmy G was honing in on and then just shut out, held off the stat sheet the rest of the game, but still can't complain. 2-1, hit on the underdog in Sunday Night Football. And now it's time to break down the best bets for Monday Night Football coming up right here. So to start us out here, I'm going to be picking the winner of the game, and I'm going with the New York Giants. And just like last night, it's another really close game. 1-point spread. Yesterday was a 1.5-point spread. I've got the Giants as slight favorites at home. And to me, really what the biggest story of the game is and why I'm going to be siding with the Giants, it's the absence of Dak Prescott, who's going to be out for at least the next few weeks with that finger injury, or thumb injury, I should say. Not finger, or thumb, not technically a finger. All that aside, I don't really know what to make of Cooper Rush as a quarterback. And it's not to say that I feel great about Daniel Jones as a quarterback either. But Cooper Rush, 28 years old. We've only seen him make a few starts in the NFL. Frankly, he hasn't looked bad in those starts. But I also don't totally buy into him being an NFL caliber quarterback. The reason being is that if teams, or the Cowboys in particular, really thought that he was some NFL caliber starting quarterback, he wouldn't have had to wait until he was 28 years old to finally get on the field. So he's a guy who's toiled around as a backup. No other teams are willing to take a chance on him. Another point. All of that indicates to me that nobody's really evaluated this guy to be a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. And then when it comes to the Giants this year, sure, they've had an easy strength of schedule, but that's actually not going to change. One thing that I do think is pretty funny about next week is even if the Giants were to lose this game, they play the Bears next week. A lot of people are going to be thinking the Giants suck, the Bears suck. Well, at the very least, one of those teams is going to be at least 3-1 after next week, which is pretty crazy to think because Bears off to a 2-1 start, Giants 2-0 right now. But something else, too, is just looking at some of the data for this game. The Giants right now, 18th overall in DVOA, while the Cowboys are sitting at 15th. So 2 teams really close in terms of overall metrics, but also keep in mind some of the stats that the Cowboys accumulated, that was with Dak Prescott at quarterback. And with the Giants playing at home and all things else being equal, I'm going to have a slight lean towards the Giants as a 1-point favorite in Monday Night Football. But once again, I want to know who you guys are going to be picking to win. Let me know below because this is a pretty tight game. But officially, my pick for the game is the Giants. Diving into some of the props for Monday Night Football, the first one I'm looking at is over 3.5 receptions for Saquon Barkley. And what I really like about this is that it's plus 120 odds. And now make sure you guys are getting the best odds on this because the plus 120 odds don't exist everywhere. So for instance, we've got BetMGM, who actually sponsors the show. They have the line at plus 120, whereas DraftKings has it at plus 110. So make sure you aren't giving up any dollars here on that line because there is a pretty big difference between plus 120 and plus 110. And then also because the
I can, sir. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to MLB Live Before Lock, presented by PrizePicks. I'm Eric Lindquist, excited to be talking about a 4-game slate here. I think it's pretty interesting. It's pretty much a traditional Live Before Lock. All the games happening pretty quick. And then, of course, all the NFL coverage coming up on the Stokastic YouTube channel for your enjoyment. A lot of that coming up here later, 2 hours leading you up to kickoff there. But I'm hanging out with my buddy Adam at Ship My Money Scherer, Ship My Money DFS on Twitter. That is. How you doing, my dude?
Doing pretty well. Looking forward to talking baseball for the first time today. It always throws me off a little bit when I don't do the morning show.
Oh, so you can't just mail it in for a second straight show. You have to do stuff.
Oh no, I'll mail it in. It's just different.
It's different. We got Mike Lawrence. We got Mike Lawrence behind the virtual glass here. Also not mailing it in like me because he tries hard. He's a hard trier, just like myself. Good to be back.
Give me some credit here. I wanted to play poker today. I thought about registering a bunch of poker tournaments. And then I just
remember when you couldn't cash out I had a bunch of poker monies and I'm like, Adam, I need you to cash this out for me. And you're like, oh, I don't play poker anymore. And now you're just firing screenshots. Got second place in this one. Got second place in that one. Look at me.
I don't remember that, but I remember getting second. I don't remember what you're talking about, but no, I thought about just registering tournaments today and then seeing if I could manage to play them during the show. I didn't do that because I'm a professional.
You were gonna play a poker tournament during the show?
Probably 4 or 5, but decided against it.
Sometimes the lows get lower somehow. I don't know how. What?
I didn't do it.
Oh, okay. So that makes it better.
Yeah.
The ghost Eric is back. The ghost? I was gone for what? One Sunday? I have a half day on Friday anyway. So, I didn't have to do anything for that. I got my responsibilities done. I had it covered. Did you guys miss me? I hope you missed me. I missed you. We're sponsored by PrizePicks. I missed them. Well, I did not miss them. I played them a lot over the weekend. Hopefully you did as well. Matt Gajewski doing some great college football stuff there. I'm covering every single island game for the NFL. I've got my Monday show out there. I am looking at some of the wind at MetLife, and it does look a little ridiculous at the moment. So going to be paying attention to that. But that's a different show. We need to talk some baseball here. Before we dive in, as you said, first time doing the show, and because you're mailing it in, maybe I shouldn't ask anyway, but anything stand out to you on this slate before we dive in?
Pitching is very polarized. Yes. You have Kevin Gausman, you have Luis Severino facing each other, difficult matchup for both. Then you, I guess, sort of have a middle ground with Contreras and Elder, and then it's just garbage. So, interesting slate.
It's a very, very interesting slate, but I'm looking forward to it. I think you guys are too. Let's start, shall we?
Sounds good.
Cool. Reds, Pirates, Chase Anderson, Roansy Contreras, just exactly what we wanted to be talking about on a Monday here. We've got 50 minutes in this show, and I know that it's going to fly when you have some of these bad pitching options, but everybody kind of gets in play when they're stretched out. And even a guy like Chase Anderson, 18.4% top 2 pitcher percentage on DK right now. On FanDuel, I don't know how you would possibly click on his name or anything that isn't one of those top tier pitchers, but how do you feel about Chase Anderson on DraftKings? It felt weird to say that.
I feel badly, but it's also it's also a 4-game slate. He's facing the Pirates in Pittsburgh. We have him with an 18% chance of being a top 2 pitcher at 6,300, only 13% ownership. I have Fantasy Cruncher running right now. I have him being optimal around 18 to 20% of the time as well. So I think going a little bit underowned. I have zero confidence in him. Hasn't pitched in the majors a ton this year. 5 games started, 6 total games with Cincinnati, 19 total innings pitched. He has struck out 23.7% of hitters. For his career, he's at 20.2%. So I don't really think it's likely that number continues. 135 expected ISO to righties compared to a 200 actual ISO. So he's gotten a little bit unlucky in the power department so far. Ultimately, it's the way I see it is he's facing the Pirates in a good park at a cheap price tag, and there's a non-zero chance that he somehow at the age of 34, almost 35, has become a better pitcher. I don't think that part's likely, but even if he's not a good pitcher, which he probably isn't, he's 6,300 against the Pirates in Pittsburgh on a 4-game slate.
Exactly. 89 pitches last time out. That was the most he's had all season. You're in play against Pittsburgh by default. You could run into some decent outings. Pitched well against Boston, pitched well against St. Louis. I mean, I doubt he's gotten better either. I'm on board with you, but this is the best matchup he's had in his last, what, 1, 2, 3. Since Colorado, that didn't go so well, but also he's stretched out now. So we'll take some shots, I think, playing a bunch of lineups, and that's going to be that. But on the other side of this one, I think Roansy Contreras is a really good option today compared to other people. And wouldn't you know it, he's very popular, the most popular pitcher we have on the entire slate. So that makes me uncomfortable because I feel like I want to get away by default. Just seems like a lot of ownership for Roansy Contreras. Cincinnati has a couple lefties that you kind of be wary of, but the lowest implied total on the slate. How are you feeling about Roansy today?
Yeah, I mean, I think just from like a talent standpoint and a pricing standpoint, he stands out the most.
Yeah.
His ability hasn't really translated to the majors so far. Only a 21.3% strikeout percentage, 4.4 xFIP. But when you're just talking stuff and you look at the, pitchers that are the same price range or cheaper, certainly has better stuff than Jordan Lyles and the better matchup. Better stuff than Chase Anderson. Connor Siebold's $5K. That's kind of a completely different price tier. Better stuff than Corey Abbott. But yeah, it's just he's one of the more talented pitchers on the slate just by default. And then he's got a good matchup here against the Reds. With it being a 4-game slate too, I think one way that I'll probably end up differentiating, and again, I'll have a better answer to this, by the time the show ends because I'm building lineups right now. But one way I think I probably end up differentiating a little bit here, because Contreras is getting a lot of ownership and I do want to get to a lot of Contreras. I think with it being a 4-game slate, you can certainly mix in a batter or two against him. And that's, one way to still get to Contreras and also get, some leverage against him. Kind of just hope that he pitches well enough and gives up like a 2-run shot to somebody that you have.
Yeah, like, I don't know, Stuart Fairchild, who has a 432 expected slugging in 46 batted ball events. That seems pretty decent enough. I could get to, of course, TJ Friedl at the top of the lineup. Friedl, I don't even have a joke for that. What am I doing? He's just going to be the leadoff guy. He makes the most sense. But what do you feel about Cincinnati as a stack? Because I don't feel great.
Yeah, neither do I. I mean, I don't like the park. I think they are an awful offense. They are projected to go a little bit under-owned, 7% top stack percentage, 5% ownership. I think it's most likely that I do what I just said and end up just sort of mixing in, some Friedel, some Steer, some Fairchild, any of these guys. I think it's probably more likely I go that route than full stacking them a lot.
What is going on in chat? What are people Googling? What is happening? I deleted my Google history. Larry C. How dare you? Also, normally I would have my iPad having YouTube on it. I don't know if anybody's aware, but I decided to go kayaking this weekend. My phone is at the bottom of a lake somewhere in Mammoth. So that's kind of a fun story. We'll save that one for a little bit later in the show when I might need it because Adam stops listening to me.
Seems like
you were listening to me there.
Yeah, it seems like that was a poor decision.
It was a poor decision. First time ever flipping a kayak. Grew up kayaking up in Minnesota, 500 kayaking trips. Just a dumb. But you know what? These are the things that you learn in your old age. Turn 35 and maybe get like a Ziploc bag or something. Put that in your canoe. Be a good idea. Just like it would be a good idea to stack up some Pirates today, in my opinion. I feel pretty good about going up against Chase Anderson because I am more in the line of thinking he is not that much better. You get O'Neill Cruz, $5K now for him leading off, but probably pretty deserving. A 235 ISO now at this point in time. Miguel Andujar, yeah, that's a name that I haven't said in a while. 2K flat batting third. Jack Sawinski in this lineup batting fourth. Of course, Brian Reynolds, the actual major league hitter out of everybody. I don't know. I kind of have some interest in Pittsburgh. Do you?
Yeah, just mostly because they're not getting a lot of ownership, only pulling around 12%, 10% chance of being the top stack. The park isn't very good. There is some reason for optimism with Chase Anderson. I mentioned the power numbers that he's been a little unlucky so far, but still a relatively high 4.2 implied run total for Pittsburgh. They are mostly inexpensive. O'Neill Cruz and Brian Reynolds are expensive. They should be. But then everybody else is cheap, like you said. One interesting part for me, in addition to just, I have no idea if Chase Anderson's actually better or not, but for a lot of his career, he has actually been reverse splits, and the Pirates are running a bunch of lefties out here. So I'm not saying to stay away from the lefties, but I do think it makes it a little bit more interesting for guys like Andujar and Ke'Bryan Hayes.
Yeah, and Duhart. Has he played a game for them this season?
I had no idea he was on this team.
He got acquired. I saw the blurb come through this weekend. Let me see if he's played a game.
Because I know they DFA'd Chavis and somebody else today.
Where did
and no,
he
he has not played a
go?
game for them today.
He got waived by the okay, got it. Was designated for assignment. There it is. Nothing like getting dropped by the Yankees and going to Pittsburgh. That must be fun.
Right.
Pittsburgh, have you ever been?
No. I've heard good things.
Oh, really? Surprising. It looks I could go other places first. We'll put it that way. Anything else from this game?
No, I don't think so.
Good talk. Glad we had it. Get all the access to Stokastic tools and content here for every DFS sport right now, this second, using MLB Live. What is MLB Live in caps? All one word. What does that get you? I don't know. Just the best tools and content in the DFS space right this second. NFL. You guys want to check out some projections for that? I bet you do. Use MLB Live. You guys want to check out the top pitchers tool, top stacks tool that we're talking about for MLB? You probably could get that too with MLB Live. 50% off your first week of the weekly package right now. Take advantage of that. Yeah, Eric would be the person in the horror movie who leaves his phone on while being chased by the killer. No, I wouldn't. I would not do that. I'd probably answer the call and then keep running. But anyway, MLB Live, that is what you guys want to take advantage of right now. Head to the video description box below. Click on the link. Sign yourself up over at Stokastic Plus today. MLB Live, 50% off first week of all the great tools and content we have behind the paywall. We continue on. Second game, oh boy, we're going to be flying through the slate. Then we're going to be building lineups. Then I'm going to have to do the awkward silent bit like 4 more times. And then we're going to hand it over to NFL. But second game on the board, I think is very interesting. Your chalk, Braves, Nationals, Bryce Elder, Corey Abbott, and Bryce Elder, pretty decent stuff so far in his career, a little bit overowned, but that's going to happen on these kind of slates. 8,400, he seems like if you're not going to play Roansy Contreras, get to Bryce Elder and a chalk your lineup, maybe one way that you can kind of cut some of that ownership. But how do you feel about Bryce Elder in this spot against a porous Washington team?
Yeah, I think he looks pretty good here. And you mentioned getting a bit less ownership. We have him around 37, 38%. I have him going a little bit less overowned than Contreras. Still a little bit overowned, but just not as much. Good matchup here against Washington. Just a pretty weak Nationals lineup. 7 starts this year for the Braves, 40 innings pitched, 8 total appearances, striking out 20.8% of hitters, 4.09 FIP, 4.5 xFIP. He's just good enough, I think, to be a solid pitching option on this slate.
Yeah, he's just a dude who's going to show up because you get in this spot, and yeah, you could probably succeed. I will say Corey Abbott on the other side of this one, fly ball pitcher. He's got a sub 200 expected batting average on him so far this season, but pretty high walk rate, low K rate. Those can kind of be problematic when you're facing, I don't know, the Atlanta Braves, where every single hitter outside of Eddie Rosario, who's just abysmal at this point, has over a 420 expected slugging. That's really, really ridiculously good. No Corey Abbott in your life, right?
Probably not much. Like I have him going under-owned, but still, a pretty low probability play. It's a really tough spot against the Braves. They are getting a lot of ownership. So, I mean, that on a 4-game slate makes Abbott look a little bit more appealing, I guess. But in the majors this year, 7 starts, 14 total appearances, 39 innings for the Nats, 5.87 xFIP. Certainly not going to make you feel very good going up against the Braves. 6.09 FIP, 18.6% strikeout percentage, 10.5% walk percentage. If you're playing Abbott, it's purely just because it's a 4-game slate and he's going to be low owned.
Do I look sunburned?
No.
Jordan Klein, what a dick. I wore sunblock.
You look like you're wearing like blush or something, but you normally wear makeup, so that's normal. It's getting redder now.
You're a funny guy.
I know.
You're really funny. I find you very funny. Man, how do I come to work every day to the abuse and the mean people, the mean spiritedness that is Jordan Klein and Adam Scherer? Unbelievable.
If I was playing poker right now, I'd probably be too distracted to make jokes about you.
That's true. I wish you were four tabling live on MLB Live Before Lock while building lineups. Honestly, I kind of want to see it. I think you should reg for a tournament while we're doing this now. You get the go ahead from me.
I can barely handle making lineups and talking. I definitely can't play poker and talk.
Do you tilt pretty hard playing poker? Because I feel like you don't tilt to DFS like at all.
Not really. I used to. I don't play enough anymore that it really gets to me. Like
Okay.
when if I was playing every day and you just get those stretches of like 3-4 days in a row just running horribly, then sure. But now it's kind of just like, yeah, whatever. Especially now too, because like I don't have the attention span I used to. So normally,
really?
But normally, yeah, normally by the time like I lose, it's just like, oh, cool, I didn't feel like doing this anymore anyway.
Yeah, it's like, oh, fine. As long as you min cash, it's all good. You just start firing it off because it's like either I want to get first and stay in all night, or I want to get my ass to the bar. Right?
Yeah.
That's like the way that I was in college.
Yesterday, like I was in the money, like not too deep in like a tournament that was like 185K to first. So like obviously I would have loved to actually do well in it. But it was just like, all right, like I either want to lose now so I can go watch the game, or I want to like win. I don't want to just be here until like 11 o'clock to make like a little bit of money.
Adam is the same color as his wall. Okay, and totally redeem yourself. Jordan Klein coming in. God, it's all right. I got Mike Lawrence. I got my chosen producer going right now, so it doesn't matter. You can go back to troll land doing troll things. You troll. Atlanta Braves. They're a really good offense. They're popular. I don't really care. I think it's pretty easy to get some pieces of this. They're not going over-owned in the top stacks tool compared to Baltimore, compared to Boston. But Atlanta, I like the most out of everybody on this slate. I think that that's pretty clear cut. How do you feel about Atlanta? Are you going to be able to get to the chalkiest offense on the slate?
Yeah, I mean, I think they look good. It's obviously a good spot against Abbott. I personally do have them going a bit over-owned, but that's just because I look at it a little bit differently because I factor in the pricing and everything kind of in one metric. So that pushes them down a little bit, but I still have them, being the top stack more frequently than anybody else and not going over-owned by any sort of crazy margin. So I still think they're, clearly a good play. I think that goes without saying. We mentioned, how much Abbott has struggled this year. 193 expected ISO to righties, 233 actual, 215 expected ISO to lefties, 260 actual. There's just not much in the way of redeeming qualities about Corey Abbott here. There's not much I can point to that is like, oh, this is why I think maybe he has some success. If he pitches well here, it's probably just flat out luck and not much else beyond that. But, it is baseball, so shit happens. But the Braves look good. I really like the Michael Harris hitting fourth. He's only 4,700. Obviously the top of the order with Acuna, Swanson, Riley's nice. Matt Olson at 4,500 is a nice discount as well. And then the bottom of this order, it's not the best hitters with Rosario, Ozuna, and Arcia, but they're all sub 3K on DraftKings. So that does help balance out what you're paying for the top of the order.
I mean, you have a guy who's got 21 home runs on the season at 2,700 who's batting eighth for this baseball team, Ozuna. So it's like, that's just kind of where we're at. He's like plus 320 over on OddsShopper for best bets to hit a home run for the day. Considered adding him to the betting card at the EL Insider chat. If you guys want to go check out the Discord there's a link to sign up at stokastic.com/Lindy. That's me. I'm Lindy. So go take advantage of that. But Marcell Ozuna thought about it, didn't end up pulling the trigger on it. Looked at him for quite a while, but that was kind of it. Atlanta, they look really, really good. Go ahead.
Are you aware of how good Michael Harris has been this year? Like
he's outrageous.
Right. So, and I mean that because like for me, it's I don't really typically pay a lot of attention to like what's going on in baseball. I know he's been productive from a fantasy standpoint, but somebody, Siege was talking to me about the NL Rookie of the Year race. Strider versus Harris.
It's him and Strider.
Yeah, and I looked up his numbers. Like I knew he'd been doing well. I had no idea the guy had 19 home runs and 19 stolen bases.
Yeah, and he's the best center fielder in baseball.
Yes, yeah, he looks great. Like 4.8 wins above replacement this year on FanGraphs, 143 WRC plus. Yeah, it was one of those. It was like, oh yeah, I know he's been doing well, but like I didn't even realize he had played 106 games. It feels like he's played like 50.
Yeah. No, he was called up really, really early, and
yeah,
I think it was Rosario was out to start out the season, so I mean there was always going to be a spot for him there. And then Rosario's been awful when he got back, so he's getting the everyday role. God, I mean, think about it too. He was batting ninth for over half of those appearances.
Right.
Like, that's wild. Way to go.
Who do you think wins between him and Strider?
I would want Strider to be it just because I think Strider is so dynamic, but I got to assume Michael Harris is worth more wins.
They're like identical now, but Strider's done for the year, I assume.
Then you definitely, I mean, that's going to be Michael Harris probably all day then.
Plus, I feel like there's a bias towards everyday players anyway.
Yes and no. I mean, there's a bias. Remember the year Justin Verlander should have won MVP and did not win MVP, and then Kate Upton went up in arms. I don't even know if he won Cy Young that year.
Yeah, I don't remember if he did or not. But yeah, Spencer Strider 4.9 wins above replacement as of right now. Michael Harris 4.8.
Jesus, that's so good. Atlanta's so ridiculously good at what they do. It's a dangerous baseball team. Who do you think wins the NL? Because it feels like
the Dodgers.
There are 5 teams that could win it.
The Dodgers.
Well, that's who I would have picked too. Way to go, Chalk Donkey. It's my role. Cy Young, not MVP. Yeah, that's what he got flipped out over. But such is life. Oh, good. We stalled. But we have to talk about Washington now. I don't want to. Did you know Joey Meneses is really good at baseball, apparently? And that's neat. CJ Abrams getting moved up to second. The former Padre, the big cornerstone of the Soto trade, if you will. We'll see how it pans out for him. But 2,100 at shortstop, you could do worse. How are you feeling about this Washington team at first glance?
I think they're going under-owned. I also think that I have them as the lowest top stack on the slate. Not a big difference between them, Toronto and Cincinnati for me. Again, keep in mind that's factoring in salary. So obviously I think Toronto's better than the Nats. But yeah, so I think they're going on their own, but also low probability. It's a team that on a 4-game slate, I'm probably going to mix in some just because they are low owned. At the very least, mixing in a couple of those hitters will help to offset some of your ownership elsewhere. Like if you are going to a Braves stack, for example, the highest owned guy on DraftKings right now from the Nats is Voit at 8%. CJ Abrams at 7%. Certainly looks like a good value. Thomas getting 8%. So it's a team that, I think you can just use to offset ownership elsewhere in your lineup.
All right.
Elder's been extremely good at limiting right-handed power this year. 100 expected ISO, 27% strikeout percentage. Where he has struggled is with lefties. 13.8% strikeout percentage, 207 expected ISO. Not a whole lot you can do with that information when you're talking about this Nats team because they don't really have left-handed power, but it does make me like CJ Abrams even more.
Okay. Yeah, CJ Abrams makes sense. Oh, big time. I'm going to have a lot of him at 2,100. I don't see any way around it. FanDuel, you can play too, but I'm not going to do that. And you can now play the god himself, Gunnar Henderson, at third base. So I like that. That's a lot of fun. Anything else from this game for you?
Nope.
Cool. We're doing great. We're what? Just over 20 minutes into the sucker. Hit that like button, please, because we're talking baseball. I know you guys are just waiting for NFL there too. I get it. I can't wait to play some Showdown tonight. If you guys want to get all that information, we got Dave Loughran, that is Lofty, and Neil Orfield going up at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time for the NFL Deeper Dive, followed by Matt Savoca and Matt Kachevsky, the law firm themselves, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Looking forward to that one. 45 minutes of fun, if you ask me. Jordan Klein will be on the call, so that'll be enjoyable to see. But either way, you guys need to check out PrizePicks, whether you're playing NFL or MLB right now. What is PrizePicks? Well, I hope you know. They're sponsor here of our lovely show, but the most important thing about them is they are the best place to go play props, bar none, in the entire industry. And here's why. You can play cross sport, every single prop from stuff in esports. You could play high alive. Yeah, they have high alive projection numbers that you take more or less on these numbers. You're just playing DFS in a different way. You're allowed to, you could do correlated game stacks. That's what I've started doing in some NFL stuff where you can take some overs, some unders, and kind of just play towards the game environment. You can play MLB home run props along with correlated plays on the over of the total bases. So many fun ways to be putting together prop cards. And I think it's more advantageous for you as the player to play over at PrizePicks than at sportsbooks, period, end of story. Just take advantage of promo code AWESEMO. Yes, it is still promo code AWESEMO to sign up over at PrizePicks right now. Take advantage of that free money. First match deposit bonus. So $20, you deposit 20, you get 20. Deposit 50, you get 50. All the way up to $100. Take advantage of that. And as if that wasn't good enough, I just found out one free month of Stokastic Plus. So as good as MLB Live is as a promo code, This is even better. So I would head over to PrizePicks right now if I were you. And if I wanted to get the Monday night showdown projections for NFL, if I wanted to get the top stacks tool, top pitchers tool, everything there for you right now by checking out prizepicks.com. If you want to play an over on something over there, I think you could go to one Noah Brown. That'll be a fun one. I'll talk about that on the NFL show. I'll leave that to them. But we're going to continue on here with the baseball. Check out PrizePicks. We absolutely love them. Thank you to them for sponsoring this lovely show of ours. Going to next game, Yankees, Blue Jays, and boy, this is like the GPP special. I think this game kind of makes this slate. I'd probably be pretty disinterested in playing it if it weren't for this, but you get two studs, Luis Severino, Kevin Gausman. We start with the Severino side, going a little bit overlooked. Obviously, they're just building him up at this point in time, getting him ready to rock for the playoffs, just 64 pitches against Pittsburgh. But there are lots of ways that you could look at that and say, hey, they were just being very cautious in a game that they won by 12 runs. And so he smashed with 6 strikeouts. He looked decent in his AAA spot. So 1, how do you feel about his pitch count tonight? And 2, are you going to be rostering him at 10K on DraftKings?
Yeah, my guess pitch count wise is like 75-ish. I don't know. I'm not overly confident in that, but it seems pretty reasonable to me. Like you said, 5 innings, 64 innings last time out. With it being a 4-game slate, though, I still think you can look there just because, like, if this were a bigger slate, then it starts to become really difficult to, like, imagine ways that Severino ends up being a guy that you want if he does, in fact, throw, like, calling it 75 pitches. But with it being the short slate with a lack of pitching, basically, Kevin Gausman can just pitch poorly and lose to Severino. You can just get – I guess – if Severino scores like 15 DraftKings points, there's a lot of like iterations of this slate where that's one of the highest scoring pitchers. So I think that basically with Gausman being the only other good pitcher on the slate and Gausman also being in a difficult matchup, that Severino has a little bit of appeal, especially at the ownership. We have him getting about 24%. We have Gausman getting 53. I have Gausman being optimal 41% of the time, Severino about 25%. So I don't think Gausman should be twice as popular as Severino is.
I would 100% agree. I think it's a very difficult matchup for both of these guys, but we're just basically looking at what the ceiling is for him. And obviously, I think Gausman has a higher ceiling than Severino does. But how many times when you play this slate out 100 times, do you think they get either close in terms of fantasy outcome? Definitely not in terms of the way that the ownership is panning out for them. 51.8% for Kevin Gausman, 21.4% for Severino. I'm completely with you. I want to get to more Severino, maybe not as much as Gausman, who for me is kind of the pitcher you want to be getting to on this slate. I just refreshed the ownership. He's now the highest owned pitcher, a little bit higher than Roansy Contreras by 0.5%. That is at 52.6% on DraftKings right now. He's 10-3. The matchup's obviously difficult, especially at the top of this order. How do you feel about Kevin Gausman's chances for success tonight?
I mean, he's the most talented pitcher on the slate, and it's by a pretty wide margin, especially when you consider that Severino is expected or is likely to be limited. 28% strikeout percentage leads the slate. 2.78 xFIP is the best on the slate by like a full half run. 4% walk percentage, only allowing 0.75 home runs per 9. The Yankees lineup is more difficult now than it was a month or so ago. You have Rizzo back, you have Bader back. There is no Giancarlo Stanton, so that takes a power bat out of the lineup. It also takes a massive strikeout bat out of the lineup for Gausman. But overall, 10-3 on a slate where there's plenty of value bats. Whether you're going to Pittsburgh or Cincinnati or mixing in guys from the Nats or the Orioles, like there's a bunch of different ways that you can afford Kevin Gausman. So he projects as the highest scoring pitcher. We have him by 3.3 DraftKings points. I have him by a little less than 2 DraftKings points, being the highest scoring pitcher. Clearly the number one guy for me.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to get away from it. It feels like if you're making one lineup, I don't think I would be getting away from Gausman. Do you agree with that?
I'll have a better idea in like 10 minutes, but
oh, great. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I think I would probably play Gausman.
Yeah, Stanton's not in the lineup today for whoever just asked such things. It's good stuff. Let's see. Oh my God, we still have 25 minutes left of this show. That's going to be incredible. I guess we've reached the part of the program where I think it can be fun. You said Michael Harris is having a pretty good season. You know who else is having a pretty good season? Aaron Judge.
Okay, I was trying to remember what game we were on so I could guess, but
I need a cardboard cutout of myself, and then I'll just say things into a mic while I go play golf or do something else at some periods of time. Or did you register for poker? I feel like you did.
no, I was just taking my lineups out of Fantasy Cruncher and putting them in my spreadsheet.
Okay. Focus. If you named that movie what that was from, I would give you $1 million.
I have absolutely no idea.
Focus. I wonder if chat can get it. It's very specific. It's a very specific movie. How about the last 15 minutes are dedicated to Eric and Adam playing charades? We'd be great charades partners. Here's the thing. We've hung out in real life now, so we on multiple occasions now, where I feel like we'd be in rhythm. We'd be really good party game players together.
My issue is that my recall is terrible.
Oh, well, that's not good. The greatest power hitter in the history of baseball, and Aaron Judge. It's pretty funny. Bambino. Also, nobody got that. Nobody? Focus. It's the grandma.
Oh, wow. Yeah, somebody said Stanton's hitting fifth. I just can't read.
Oh, okay. I thought you had just said he was out.
I did, because I can't read.
Oh, but you're a damn dirty liar then.
Like, I was looking at the lineup, and my eyes just skipped straight over his name.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here. Glad that you're now sabotaging the program in every single way you possibly could.
Yeah, and I like that you're getting blamed for it in chat. So yeah, the inverse, there is another good hitter in this lineup, and he does strike out a lot. So
yeah, I literally was going along with what Adam said, and then I reiterated what you said, but then you're a damn dirty liar. Aaron Hicks is not in this lineup, but Giancarlo Stanton is. And then apparently Harrison Bader's going to be a good hitter now, or serviceable hitter now. No, he hasn't been that good in a Yankee uniform, has he? He started off with a good weekend, and that was about it.
Yeah, so I don't know what he's done with the Yankees specifically. I know he has a 94 WRC plus so far this season. Based on Twitter and people I follow, specifically Gundacker, I would have thought that he had like a 150 WRC plus that's coming over.
It's the hair. What's the movie? It's American Wedding. The grandma, when Stifler's in the closet with the grandma. Focus. Do you know the moment?
Yeah.
I love that you at least know the moment, but nobody else got that in chat.
And people said American Pie.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
American Wedding. There it is.
I recognized it. Like, I knew that I had seen whatever movie it was. I just couldn't place it. Somebody guessed Matilda, which actually was like the first thing that came to my mind as well. Which I don't know.
That's a good one.
Guessing to sound like Miss Honey or something.
So I have the chat popped up on my laptop on everything over here, but my iPad is generally where I have YouTube and YouTube chat, and I'm feeling very naked at the moment. Feeling very naked. Mike Lawrence, are you okay over there? You were just freaking out. You okay? We're good? Wu-Tan Clan. Ain't none to F with. I love that sweatshirt. It's beautiful. Cool. Well, let's talk this. Did we already talk Yankees bats? We have not talked Yankees bats.
You're asking the wrong person.
Oh my God, you're so awful. Kevin Gausman. He's really good at pitching, but how many times on a 4-game slate can you get the Yankees at a discounted ownership this extreme? I'm going to guess almost never. And that makes me very intrigued to be able to get to some Yankees bats today. How do you feel? That was a terrible Le Batard impersonation, but I tried. Grandpa Le Batard, that is. How do you feel about the Yankees on today's slate?
I think they're interesting just because, like you said, they're not getting much ownership. They are really good. You're in the Rogers Center, which is nice. Gausman, obviously really good as well. But when you're talking about a slate where the alternatives, like you have Atlanta, who's obviously really good. But then, we've talked about Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Washington. It's not a lot of great offenses here. So I like the idea of getting them at low ownership. Right now, I'm getting around 5%. So around the field on them. I'm getting over on some other teams, but certainly wouldn't fault anyone for getting there. I like it in theory, at least.
I like it in theory, at least, too. And I'm going to probably do it because I'm looking at my single entry team and it's a Yankee stack. So good luck to me. Very much good luck. No, I went back and forth. I have 3 lineups that I just hand built out, and I'm trying to decide which one I want to have be the single entry one. I did say if I played one lineup, I would play Gausman. So maybe I just go to the Gausman one.
My top
play
lineup,
some of these Baltimores. Say that again.
My top lineup does have Gausman.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better about it then. I'm just going to do that because he's the best pitcher on the slate. What?
Who? Nats.
Why?
I don't know.
You're a weird person. Also, I am focused. Again, the chat and everything here. American Wedding, there you go. Everybody put American Wedding in the chat earlier, and I missed it, and there you go. But yes, Harrison Bader apparently is God. That's cool. We do know that Severino is going to be short for this game in some capacity, but Yankees, they've got a decent enough pen behind it. It's been much worse without Michael King here for however long, but in that kind of a reliever duty. But Toronto bats can definitely outkick their coverage in any single spot because just like the Yankees on the other side, top of this lineup looks redonkulous. Everybody knows I hate Tapia down there at the bottom. Whit Merrifield apparently just started becoming a power hitter over the weekend. Kept seeing home run alert after home run alert from him in the middle of NFL. But how are you feeling about the Toronto bats on this slate?
I'm getting to them less than any other team, but to me, they're kind of similar to the Yankees where they're just such a talented offense at low ownership that I kind of like the idea of taking advantage of it. I think they're going under-owned, but I'm also just having difficulty getting to them. I'm getting to other teams instead.
All right. Well, that seems fair. A lot of other teams to get to, like, I don't know, 7 of them. I mean, you're just going to make your stand. A man must have a code. I have a feeling Baltimore is going to be a part of your plan tonight. And
It is.
Yeah, there we go. It's amazing how I can kind of guess. You homer. I have to always be careful when I say that word.
That was a good show.
Nobody has any idea what we're talking about. That makes it way better. Get all of our Stokastic NFL tools for showdown and single game slates. I'm just not going to read that. This is ridiculous. Primetime sells itself. This is the easiest read period in the history of the universe. You use promo code Primetime at checkout for an NFL primetime package for $1. It's $1. Do I need to say anything else? If you have $1 to spend, use it. Use it for promo code Primetime right now. Take advantage of all the NFL DFS showdown stuff we have on these island games for Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night. Take advantage of it now. We're talking ownership, player projections, top plays, lineup builder, expert Discord. Yes, you get in the Discord for $1 for that week. That seems too good to be true. This offer is valid through September 29th, but why wouldn't you just do it right now? It's a freaking $1. It's ridiculous. I don't even know what else to say. Promo code Primetime, done. I was hoping that it was maybe more that I could say there because we have 17 minutes of the show left and one game. It's going to be incredible. Extra game this week, showdown on Sunday morning. Oh, I believe that's my Vikings if I had to guess because I already have plans on what I'm going to be doing that morning. Minnesota, who do we play? I can't remember who we play. I just know that the Vikings play Sunday morning. Somebody look it up for me.
Is that a London game?
It's a London game, yeah. Kegs and eggs, baby. Kegs and eggs. Skull. It was a beautiful come from behind win. How'd your NFL Sunday go? Because I didn't get to do the show with you this morning.
Didn't go well. I actually played like really, really contrarian, which should have worked out well. I was underweight on like all of the chalk that busted. My 2 highest owned games were the Patriots game and the Seahawks game, which both scored 1 million points. And I just didn't have anything come together correctly.
You and I had the exact same thing. I ended up having a profitable week purely because Devontae Parker is a god. So thank you to him.
I had a lot of him. I had more Kendrick Bourne, which sucked. But then I had
more Nelson Aguilar. Yeah, that didn't go well.
I had a lot of Aguilar too. And then Mac Hollins just made it all irrelevant. So that didn't really help.
Big Mac Daddy. You can't deal with me. Holla, Hollins. It's close. Ain't no stopping now. I'm the hottest round. Come on. Go get your freak on. You don't know that song, do you?
I absolutely know that song.
Okay, good. EMAC 2024 in the chat. Love seeing you. Love seeing everybody, all the cast of characters. Hit that like button while you're at it, please. Thank you. We have this last game, 15 minutes. We're going to be building lineups as well because, well, actual lock is going to be 10 minutes after we get off this show. So let's pay attention. Baltimore, Boston. Oh boy, another game that I think could just be explosive for this slate. And not because of pitchers. Jordan Lyles, this Seabold character who, why is he pitching in the majors right now? This is just absurd. I don't even know what to say. Do you have anything from pitching in this game whatsoever?
I mean, I have like 10% Connor Seabold. I don't have Jordan Lyles. It's not any real level of confidence in Seabold. He's just 5K. So yeah, I have like 10%. So a little bit over the field on him, or around the field, I guess. But that's about it.
Do we still not have an Orioles lineup?
We do not, which
This is the dumbest thing ever.
I don't know who's hurt. Like normally it means somebody's hurt, but I don't know who it is.
Let's see. Going through. Do they think Urias can play? He's got neck and back spasms. Is he just
that's
getting
probably
his
what it
back
is.
rotated right now and they want him in?
That's probably what it is. He was scratched like 2 days ago.
Yeah, looks like it. I could get down with my bad self and play a little bit of Connor Siebold. He's 5K. That's the nicest thing I can say about him because everything else looks awful. Is a 2.20 whip for 4 starts good?
It's not very good.
Okay.
I mean, he was solid at AAA this year. 19 starts, 86 and 2/3 innings, 3.37 FIP, 4.3 xFIP, 24.7% strikeout percentage.
Kick his ass, Siebold. It was close. You tried. I like it, Mike. I like the effort that is going on behind the scenes. It makes up for my co-host. But Baltimore bats. Hi, how are you doing? Maybe we shouldn't complain that the lineup isn't out yet because we could be getting Urias at like legitimately 0 ownership on a 4-game slate. That would be very enticing to me with, I don't know, every other bat in this lineup that I really, really like. Specifically Gunnar Henderson. Did you know he's really good too?
I did know that. Somebody said Underdog has their lineup, but I don't see it.
I don't see it at all.
But yeah, I mean, I'll just swap around if I have to. I don't know if we have Urias even in our projected lineup right now. We don't. So yeah, if Urias is in, I'll have to swap some stuff to him. But yeah, it's still a solid lineup. You're in Fenway. Right-handed power is going to play better there than it does in Camden. Left-handed power, not as much, but still not the end of the world there. Mullins and Rutschman are pretty expensive. Everybody else is not. Gunnar Henderson likely hitting the middle of the order with MPE, $3,900. Just great already. Anthony Santander's got a bunch of power. Mountcastle's got, going to be able to take shots at the Green Monster. If Terran Vavra is in the lineup, he's cheap and has MPE. Stowers, if he's in the lineup, is 2K flat with plenty of power. I really like the Orioles. They are currently my highest owned team.
Yep. And they're going to be mine too if this lineup isn't out by the time we get off this show. I think I'll just quick trigger and fire in some more because we have we can do whatever we want on a 4-game slate for baseball leading it in. I was going to ask, how many expected home runs by park do you think Gunnar Henderson has if you were to play in Boston as opposed to in Baltimore?
I would guess it's less.
It's more, actually.
Really?
5. Yeah. 5 as opposed to 3. Again, pesky pull. People think that it plays shorter out to right. It's actually so far back to that bullpen compared to other places. And people don't ever take into account that stuff unless you're Adam and me and you're Sharp, right?
Yeah, like unless you happen to just hit like a curving foul ball into the right field corner, it's pretty rough for left-handed bats. But it's also just possible that he's hit a few fly balls to left field that would have cleared the monster and were outs in Camden.
Yep, there you go.
And
that's kind of what
he does have power opposite way.
He does. I'm looking at, but 5 is just a nice number to be getting to. Coors the only ballpark where he would have more 6 so far on his batted ball profiles. You can see that all on Baseball Savant. Great site to be able to get stuff like that. I just find it to be fascinating to see, especially when you have dynamic park shifts like what we saw in Camden this season. Like it's just been something that I've been trying to pay more attention to. Feel like I never bring it up on these shows because we're always flying and short on time. Definitely want to be paying attention to small things like that because that can be something like when you see Trey Mancini get acquired by Houston and then you look at him, if he were to play in Houston all season long, and it was like the second most home runs he would have in any park on his expected ball profile, and he had like no home runs in Baltimore. Massive deal. Anything to add there? Or should we move on?
No, nothing to add. Jeff Williams asked if Santander and Rutschman are better left-handed or right-handed. Not sure off the top of my head for Santander.
Rutschman is definitely better lefty.
Yeah, I know for sure Rutschman is better left.
Yeah, we were comparing him to Yasmani Grandal the one day, and nothing has changed at all.
432 plate appearances against right-handed pitching for Santander this year. 346 expected WOBA, 203 expected ISO. I don't know if that's better or worse than right-handed, but it's certainly very good.
Certainly very good. Makes me happy about Baltimore. And again, maybe I won't complain. I am just going to have the underdog thing. I'm going to just pull it up here and make sure that I'm not missing anything. Nope, I do not see a lineup. So that person that said that, I would in a different circumstance where I had my iPad, I would be timing you out for false information. I would be upset, but I can't do that. Let's talk bats on the other side. Boston, yes,
Well,
the Boston Red Sox. What?
I just loaded my exposures into Fantasy Cruncher just to see like individually what I have of people. Adley Rutschman's my highest owned hitter right now at 62%.
This is a different kind of baseball slate, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is going to be really fun. I'm trying to decide if I want to play the 555 because I just sold my Tony Pollard Elite card for 275. That was nice. And now I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll fire it up. That's half the entry.
There you go.
See how you can justify things in DFS that we're not equipped to handle real life anymore. We're so screwed up in the head.
Yeah, I mean it's bad because then you also I don't know, you have a wife, so you're probably forced to be more responsible than me, but like in real life, like you get so used to like your entry fees, and so like in real life you just kind of like round, or at least I round numbers. Like to me, $100 is the same as $400 because it's just less than 1,000, which like that's not meant as any sort of like brag or anything. It's just me being really stupid. But like I'm so bad. I've never been good with money, and I'm so bad with it now because like nothing feels like money because you compare it to entry fees.
I'm good with money, but with the caveat that I have to be responsible in all the other ways that are not DFS, and I have to block my brain off from anything that has to do with like it. I have to try to make it as much of a blank piece of paper, like Monopoly money, as what I can. Like I just try to think about winning and nothing else. I don't know.
Like that's a really good mindset to have.
Otherwise, I'd be broke if I was friends with Jordan Klein, like I am, because I'd have to just pay for his dinner all the time. Boston Red Sox. How are we feeling about these bats to finish it out?
I think Boston looks really good too. They are my second highest owned stack.
You didn't find that funny? I thought it was funny.
No, I was laughing at that, and then I was laughing at Chad also.
What happened there?
They're my second highest owned stack. I'm getting to them around the field at 20%. It's a solid enough spot against Lyles. He's, I think, a average-ish pitcher. Josh thinks he's horrible. I don't think he's that bad, but 178 expected ISO to righties this year, 196 to lefties, and it is worth noting that he is getting out of Camden Yards. He's allowed a 145 actual ISO to righties, so I think it's pretty likely that he's gonna, if he pitched in Fenway Park, he would be having a worse year than pitching in Camden Yards. I think that's pretty safe to say. You have plenty of right-handed power in this lineup. Bogarts and Martinez in particular. Kike Hernandez is leading off for cheap at 3,100 with MPE. Rafael Devers is great. Tristan Casas is still 2,100 for unknown reasons. He's my third highest owned first baseman behind Mountcastle and Olsen. So I think both offenses here just look really good.
Is there a reason that they are just not moving these tags for anybody who gets called up in the month of August?
Yeah, I have no idea.
This is so dumb.
Yeah, it's just it's like anybody that has played in the minor leagues is just bad, regardless of their prospect status.
How many cash game options are you getting from this game?
Didn't register cash today, but I can figure that out.
Good man. I figure you might be able to. I have a feeling. Let's just kind of look at the first base position, because I was just curious if it's going to be him or Olsen, depending on how you're building out your lineup. Matt Olsen batting fifth today. That's kind of weird to me.
All right. So if I just crunch my top 100 lineups, it looks like mostly Tristan Casas. Yeah, he's in like 70%. Olsen's in like 20%. Mountcastle's in like 10%.
Yeah, I think it would be Olsen or Casas for me. I know that Mountcastle's in between there. Projected to bat just because my cash game tiebreaker right now is we do not have a Baltimore Orioles lineup.
Yeah, right now my top projected lineup would have four guys from this game. Tristan Casas, Kike, Devers, and Rutschman.
All right. Well, wanted to give the people what they want and have you throw some cash game plays in there too. You poor grinders, you that are still doing the cash game plays. Good luck to you all. September 26th in baseball. You got to really, really want it at that point, or you're just adamant you were going to do it anyway. Anything else you want to say about this slate? Oh, there it is on cue. Finally.
Wow, it's the one I think it's what we had projected. Mullins, Rutschman, Santander, Mountcastle, Henderson, Hayes, Odor, Stowers, Mateo.
It's almost like the guys working behind the scenes are sharp and stuff. They're pretty sharp. Mountcastle batting fourth. Now that's pretty interesting to me.
No Terran Vavra. That needs to become Odor, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird, but I guess
that's
annoying. Righty, whatever.
But other than that, yeah. So that's the only change that I'll have to make is getting away from Terran Vavra, which if he's in the outfield just becomes Stowers, and if he's at second base, it becomes Odor. That's easy.
Yeah, Vavra is. I mean, he was going to be popular. That's weird. Yeah, he was projected second highest owned second baseman on the day. So that is definitely an important change. So I'm going to rerun some stuff here as well, but we have 4 minutes left. We've got 14 minutes until you've got lock. So be aware of that. Make sure you're paying attention to your clock there, but we're getting ready for the NFL show, y'all. We got the NFL Showdown Deeper Dive coming up. That's Lofty. That's Neil Orfield coming up right after this. You don't have to leave this channel whatsoever, starting up at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Then NFL Showdown live before lock. Matt Savoca, Matt Gajewski, the law firm itself. Check them out right after 45 minutes leading you up to kickoff of this barn burner we have before us, this Giants-Cowboys game. But anything that's standing out to your lineups, the people must know?
Nothing really surprising. I'm underweight on Atlanta. I'm over on the Orioles, a little bit over on Pittsburgh, getting a lot of Gausman and Contreras, getting like 15% Corey Abbott. Again, that kind of just goes hand in hand with being under on Atlanta on a 4-game slate. It's kind of like, why not? But certainly not anything that I am encouraging others to do.
We don't even have 100 likes on this show yet. Are you kidding me? We're talking baseball right now, September 26th, before an NFL slate. Adam and I are giving you our time, our attention, sometimes attention. You weren't listening again.
I was. I'm also trying to swap my Orioles.
Eric Traub, $9.99. Did you see it? Did you see the super chat?
No.
Look at it. The podcast that they would have 12 minutes to utilize all the information of. 12 minutes? That's interesting. All right. Hopefully that was worth $10. I hope that was worth $10 to you. I feel pretty good about it. What on earth? I truly think this bit, I don't know how it showed up, but it's become our thing. That's our thing. We have awkward silence.
Yeah, it comes up because you start like making random movie references that I don't know, and I have nothing to say.
Everybody knows the grandma from American Wedding.
Yeah, no, I knew that one.
No, nobody knows it. It's a very specific thing, and I'm proud of you for knowing it, actually. That's a big win. 2 minutes left to go. Check out everything. Oh, man. It's so good. All right. We got the Baltimore lineup. I'm going to play a lot of Baltimore. Let's recap it this way here before we hand it over to NFL. 3 favorite pitchers, 3 favorite stacks. Go.
3 favorite pitchers, Gausman, Contreras, and Elder. My 3 highest owned stacks are Baltimore, Boston, and Pittsburgh.
That'll do it for us, guys. We got Mike Lawrence. Thank you so much to him. Great work behind the virtual glass, per usual. Working all day, all morning, all afternoon. Appreciate you, my guy. We've got Jordan Klein leading the charge here for Lofty and Neil coming up next. So don't go anywhere. Check them out. He's Adam. He's really, really funny too sometimes. I'm Eric. I'm always funny, obviously. Awkward silence. We'll see you guys later.